Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant. We are at the next topic, that is the King and Pawn Endgames. We are at the 14th lesson of our topic. So this is the position here with black to play and with, let's see what are the options for black. Basically this position is a transition to a King and Pawn Endgame. Means right now we have got a Queen Endgame and black transposes to King and Pawn Endgame, seeing that he is getting a winning position. So this is also continuation of the concepts of floating square. We will see how it is relevant in this position. Black went with the move Queen e4 in the game. The reason being, after Queen e4, de4, he had two lines to choose from. That is one c5 and other a5. And we need to calculate a bit to understand which position is winning and which is not winning, or whether both the positions are winning. So let's calculate. More logical is of course a5, but we cannot just choose the move by looking at its goodness. So we have to calculate in both the lines c5 and a5. So let's look at c5 quickly. After c5 we see that white has the very nice move c3, instantly challenging d4. And if we remember the concept of floating squares, we will see that what happens here, after d3, white is just getting c4, and then after king c3, d3 will be taken. In the case of floating squares, what happens, the pawns which are on the edge, which form the squares we have discussed before, like d4 and a4, if they are forming a square at the edge of the board, then the pawns cannot be stopped. But here we see that the pawns will be falling short. See, after a5, king c3, a4, kd3, a3, both the pawns will be taken and white will win. Although black can get draw in this position with the move dc, kc3, a5, because after kc4 there is the move a4. The pawns are closer to each other this time, thus drawing is possible. There is another way to hold the game. After the move a5, there is cd, cd and kb3. At first it looks like the pawns are not getting to the d4 and a4 squares, so the floating square concept will not work here. But black has another resource here in the move g5. The point is, after hg, h4 will be there, which will win for black. But after fg, now suddenly black goes ke6. He is in the square of these two pawns, so black is also trying to use the same concept, kc4, ke5, and after the race here with the moves g6, kf6, kd4, kg6, it looks like white may have the upper hand, or it may look like black will get the upper hand, because black will take the e4 pawn and h4 pawn when white will only be able to take the a pawn, right? The race of pawn will begin now. c5, kf6, kb5, ke5, king takes a5, ke4, kb4, kf4, kc3, kg4, kd2, king takes h4, ke1, and we see that the king is reaching the f1 and then the g1 square by force. So after kg3, kf1, kh2, kf2, we have got a standard drawn position here. So we see that after the move c5, black can get a draw at the most. Black went with the move a5, which he had calculated. Things can get pretty complicated in King and Pawn Endgames, because if the variations are forced, one has to foresee things. And now here again we see a similar case. One move is kb3, main one, and other is the move c3. After c3, we can go with the move d3 here, when after kb3, a4 check, and we see that the king is struggling in this case and the black pawns prevail. Main move happens to be the move king b3, goes c5. Now white has three options. One is king a4, other is kc4, and the move c4 for white as well. After king a4, there comes c4, king takes a5 and d3, and the d pawn queens. Same happens to the move king a3 as well. After king a3, d3, cd, cd, kb3, there will be a4 check, kc3, a3, and again one of the pawn queens. After the move kc4, there is a4, when after c3, Again black has the move a3, forcing the king to go to b3, and then comes d3. Again we see that one of the black pawn queens. Finally there is the move c4, which offers better resistance. Now a4 cannot be played because just king takes a4 and king remains in the square of the pawn. Black plays the waiting move ke6 and puts white in a zugzwang now. King a3 allows d3, kb3, a4, and the move e5 allows the king to settle in between these pawns, and again white is in zugzwang. a6, then king takes e6. So again king a3, d3, kb3, a4 check, kc3, and we reach the same position as before where the c pawns were not there. Here also white loses. Thus we can say that black's idea to trade the queens was not only best, but it was based on concrete calculation which he did in the game, and he won the game very easily. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.